Hey everyone, it's good to have you guys back with me for just a little bit of your time, and thank you for clicking on this video and not the one above it or below it, and thank you for spending a few minutes of your day with me this evening, day, night, whatever time you're watching this. So you guys may have been floating around certain paranormal channels and so on, and there's quite a few of them. Some of them don't. More skeptical ones don't really talk about this kind of subject. But there's a lot of channels out there which talk about this thing called a connection. Like connection with spirit, building a connection before you start spirit communication. Should you do it before? Should you do it after? It's kind of a little bit like, I suppose, a relationship, I suppose you could call it, with spirit, I think. And so it's kind of a broad term, whatever you choose to classify as a connection with spirit. If you're a particularly spiritual person, you don't have to be to do this kind of stuff with spirit communication. You don't have to be spiritual. You don't have to be religious. Not at all. I know a few atheists that do this and I've seen them get really good results. But getting onto this subject more in depth. So this connection, what is it? Well, it's kind of building a connection as you would maybe, I suppose, with friends, family, to the spirit world. Maybe some people believe it may enhance their communication, or for some people it's just more being more in tune with that kind of side, especially with spirits are concerned. But whereas for me, I suppose I do kind of subscribe to that, but I'm not a big... I do, like, sometimes I don't do a meditation before like a spirit communication session. Sometimes I don't. I just flip a spirit box on and off I go and just see what happens. Other times, I suppose, if I'm more focused, then I will do a meditation. I try to almost think about sort of spirits coming into the room when I'm about to do a session. Like, they're coming into the room, they're sitting next to me, unsure what they look like. They kind of appear to me sort of in my mind. I'm not a medium or anything, I don't see things, whatever, but they kind of appear in my mind to me as kind of like shapes and just sort of neutral colors, and that kind of thing, like white, black, and I just see them like sitting next to me, or to kind of just visualize them with me. And I say, like, I'm reaching out to you guys. I do this before I start every session. So I'm reaching out to anybody who's here. Do you want to come in and talk? If you want to answer my questions, please do. You don't have to. If you just want to say anything at all, then please just say anything, even if it's just a simple hello, if it's, you could tell me your name, anything like that. I try and be as nice as I possibly can, but I just saw something float in front of the camera. Did you see that? Okay, not sure what that was. I didn't see anything just there, but I did see that on the viewfinder, but I didn't see it in front of me, but whatever. So that might have been something. Ooh, maybe because I'm talking about this subject. But this connection, I find it a little bit difficult, especially with, I don't really know what I'm connecting to exactly. And some of you may be watching this who will go, well, you're trying to reach out and connect with dead people. Well, are they dead people? We can't prove they're dead people. The only thing that we can prove is that something is communicating with intelligence. But we don't know if they're dead people. We don't know if they're interdimensional beings, if they're aliens, if they're fairies. Could be anything for all we know. We have no idea, hence why it's called the paranormal. And some people say we know exactly what they are, we know how they communicate. We don't really, it's just speculation. All the paranormal is just speculation and thoughts, that's it. The only proof we got is something's communicating with intelligence. But this connection that everybody keeps talking about, I suppose in a way, maybe it means to try and connect with family, like you would with family, friends, and so on. But understanding about, I suppose, opening up to spirit is going to be, for me, it's very important. I like to try and form a bond with them and sort of ask for the same names and so on if I get those. And I ask like just questions like, how are you? What are things like on your end? What can you see? What have you done with your day? Have you gone somewhere else today? I want to know. And it's kind of just, I suppose, something like that, forming a relationship in a way. But then there is other people I know who do this, and well, they generally just switch on the spirit box and off they go, and they just get what they get. So they're more into like the research and everything. I'm very much into the research. I just like to, I suppose, try and have more in-depth conversations with them and sort of have a conversation with them as if I'm communicating with a friend. And I always say, like, how are you, my friend, and so on. And I do a lot of sessions by myself when I don't record, just to see what happens. And I love doing those because a lot of the time, Stuff happens, but it doesn't happen when, it happens like that sometimes. But spirit communication isn't always successful. You know, a lot of people in the paranormal say that communication depends on the connection, and I'm going to tell you no, it does not. I don't care if you feel like you've got a brilliant connection. I say that in quotation marks. I don't care if you've got a brilliant connection or a very weak connection. Your communication is still going to be the same. Communication does not depend on anything like that. Communication will depend on if they want to talk or not. So what I mean by that is you can do, like I said many times, you can do 7 sessions in 7 days. It may be only one of those days you actually get something, or in those 7 days you might not get anything at all. I've gone like 2 weeks without anything before, and I always like to think that maybe it's strong, and so on. This connection, whatever it is, with them. I like to communicate with them. I like to ask about how they are, who they are, and so on, their names, and I like to kind of let them speak a lot and just see what they got to say. And I'm more interested in them, as you know, communication, it depends on them. It doesn't depend on me. It is completely down to them. So really, when you have channels which are based on the paranormal, it's kind of, well, the content creates itself in a way. So the spirits, they create this stuff, and I just like put it up on YouTube, you know, so they do all the work. It depends on them if they want to speak or not. If they don't want to speak, then they won't speak. It's purely down to spirit. Bird connection, is it imperative? Is it important? I suppose it kind of depends on what you believe. Like I said, there's complete atheists I know who do this and get really cool results. So maybe. But me, I personally, I'm sort of a spiritual person in a way. I'm not religious, and I don't believe in religion, and I never will. I suppose being more spiritual, you can kind of open yourself up to a bit more, and it's kind of, in a way, I don't know, feeling inside yourself. I know it sounds a little bit odd, I might sound a bit philosophical, whatever, but for me, I feel it's important in some sense. I don't believe it's actually imperative. Like, when people talk about a connection to, let's just say if you're going to a location, for example, say if you're heading off to an abandoned castle in the middle of nowhere, when did you establish a connection with those spirits at that abandoned castle? You've never been there before, so how does that work? Like, I have done celebrity spirit box sessions before. I got no problem with anybody else doing them, as long as they put disclaimers and so on, as I do, which is, you know, can't prove it's them, even if it's their name, their voice, whatever. Can't prove it's them. There is no proof whatsoever that it's them, even if it sounds like them, whatever. So when it's something like that, especially with the spirit box sessions which I've done, it's more so that I've had, maybe I was a fan of them. Like Michael Jackson, I've been a fan of ever since I was very young, and I've been listening to Michael Jackson ever since, and will always be a fan. I remember being devastated when he died. So Michael Jackson, very important figure to me, and also just for the person as well. So in a way, I suppose there is, maybe you can class that as a connection of some kind. I don't know, but that's why, you know, I've had requests to do sessions on, if I can name one, for example, off the top of my head, there was one called, what was she from? Was she from TLC? Lisa Left Eye, I think, yeah. And I got a request ages ago to do for Lisa Left Eye. By the way, that viewer, if you were the one who commented, thanks, but it's just, I didn't feel any need to do that, mostly because, well, I didn't really know of them. So, and plus, why would they come to me? That don't really make much sense. But then again, I could say the same about the other sessions. Why would they come to me? They didn't know me. But might it have been a 1 in a million chance? Maybe. It's doubtful, but possibly. You know, it could have been, I don't know, it could have been a spirit having a joke with me and just impersonating them, like we have impersonators in real life who can maybe do prank calls on you, and you may think it's that celebrity when really it's just Joe Blow on the other end of the phone doing an impression of a certain celebrity. It could be that. They could just be mimicking, playing a joke on me. I don't know. Despite the information, voice and so on, does not prove it's them. Have I been shocked by a lot of things in those sessions? Yeah, for sure I've been shocked, especially in the last Michael Jackson session I did, and one on Eddie Guerrero, who was another childhood hero of mine when I was a kid, and still is, because I love wrestling, I adore wrestling, I breathe wrestling. So those ones definitely shocked me for sure. But do I know it's them? No. But do I class being a fan or whether being sort of emotionally attached to that as a connection? Maybe, possibly. I don't know. But it kind of depends on what you think. Like I said, you don't have to be religious, don't have to be spiritual. You can be completely turned off to any of that stuff, and I've still seen people get results. But connection does not depend on your communication. Your communication doesn't depend on a connection. Communication happens when it happens. You have no control over that. Despite how good your freaking connection is, whatever, it does not depend on the communication. The communication does not depend on it. What happens, happens. If nothing happens, nothing happens. That's just the realities of spirit communication. But anyway, there was just my little talk for this evening. I'm calling this in the evening, as you can tell, even though it's like 5:30, it's dark. I hope maybe you enjoyed this video. I love to hear your thoughts on this, and in the comments, I've got a very vocal comment section. I look forward to reading them in the future and get back to them when I can. And I'll see you guys in the very next video. So whatever time you're watching this, in the morning, day, noon, night, whatever, take care, stay safe, and I'll see you guys soon in the very next one.